His sister is not well, so he's back out at the QEH, so he said he couldn't stay. Councillors Tweel and Duran are on the phone. And if I can just start off with a couple of announcements. All residents are invited to participate in Family Violence Prevention Week, May 9th to the 15th, to raise awareness and learn more about how to prevent family violence. May 11th is Wear Purple Day, and we are asking staff, council, and all residents to wear purple to raise awareness and remember victims of violence and their families. A sincere thank you to Prince Edward Island's Family Violence Prevention Services for coordinating and working with partners and stakeholders, including the Charlottetown Police Services, to address family violence. There are many resources and ways to get support at www.fvps.ca. And if you look on your desk, there is a moose hide pin. This Thursday, May 12th, 2022, is Moose Hide Campaign Day. This is an Indigenous-led organization that takes a stand against violence towards women and children and takes practical steps for our collective journey of reconciliation. I have pledged to join #Moose Hide Campaign Day on May 12th, and I'm hoping council and staff will take action on this day and every day to see an end to violence towards women and children. Find out how to register and get involved at www.moosehidecampaign.ca. And as I said, the pin is on your desk. Wear it on May 12th, and there is a card with each pin with further details. And this is the last one, and these are all important announcements. May is Melanoma and Skin Cancer Awareness Month, and it is imperative that all residents be reminded of the importance of sun safety at this time of year. Skin self-examinations should be performed monthly because skin cancers are highly treatable when detected early. And as Mayor and Council, I'm pleased to recognize May as Melanoma and Skin Cancer Awareness Month in the City of Charlottetown, birthplace of Confederation. Thank you to those at the Save Your Skin Foundation who are dedicated to fight against melanoma and skin cancers through education, advocacy, and awareness. For more information, visit saveyourskin.ca. Thank you, and I'm just going to ask declarations of conflict of interest. Seeing none, hearing none. Approval of agenda. Now, Councillor, just before you get up, Councillor McCabe did send me an email. Wayne and Laurel both are out in BC, so there's a 4-hour difference. So
they're on a lunch hour from their conference.
So
I'd like to go first.
She would like to put them first before planning. Did you have a change?
I did yours. We had a tender closing for fencing for a couple of ball fields, George Smith and the Kiwanis ball fields, Your Worship. I'd like to get this tender approved by council as opposed to waiting another month.
Yep.
So we had it sent to our committee, and I believe it went to the finance committee. So if I can add that to the agenda tonight, I'm going to give that to be appreciated.
And is there another item added to planning? Or was that the issue that we discussed at our planning board meeting, 18 Bishop Street?
I think the resolution is being changed.
So is it all right to move economic development to the top?
Sure.
Moved, seconded. Councillor Bernard, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So you had adoption of previous draft minutes, regular monthly meeting, April 11th, and special meetings, April 25th.
I'll move.
Moved by Councillor Ramsey, seconded by Councillor McKay. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any business arising out of the minutes?
See none?
Good. All right there, Councillor McLeod?
Yeah, good go.
Good. Deputy, you're good? Okay, let's go to economic development. They are on the phone, correct?
Okay, so Laura,
Yeah.
are you there? No?
Yeah, we're here, yeah.
Okay, perfect, great, thank you. And thank you, Your Worship. The Economic Development Tourism Event Management Committee met on April 20th. The Arts Advisory Board met on April 26th. The minutes are in your package. A little update, the Chamber recently held their annual President's Excellence Awards. And we'd like to say congratulations to Suddenly Energy, who took home the Emerging Business Excellence Award, which was sponsored by the city of Charlottetown. Who presented that award. Statistics Canada recently reported the Consumer Price Index for Canada for March 6th. It was up 6.7%. PEI had the highest CPI in the country. It came in at 8.9%. Work is currently underway on a new sport tourism strategy which will guide our vision for growth through 2025. The team is participating in a number of tourism and event development missions. They're currently attending the Impact Sustainability, Travel and Tourism, along with other local partners in BC. The cruises have officially returned to Charlottetown with 5 ships, including 2 inaugural calls visiting the city since the season launched on April 22nd. Interviews have concluded for summer positions in the Visitor Information Center. Staff will begin part-time hours on the 24th of May, with full-time hours beginning on the 13th of June. Any questions? I'll do my best to answer, and Laura and Lee are also available.
Councillor Yankoff, do you have a question? Could you please rise? And please speak loud so our 2 callers can hear us.
Thank you.
4 callers,
Thank you
whatever
for your
number.
report, Councillor McCabe. Just wondering, is there any update? The last I had heard, we weren't proceeding with the decorative lighting on Kent Street, but there's been some talk in the community that that's back being discussed or is going forward. Do you have any update, or maybe your staff does?
Yeah, I think that was a downtown Charlottetown project.
No, it's not. It's
Discover Charlottetown.
Discover Charlottetown, okay.
But
And
it-
Laurel, I don't know,
yeah.
maybe if you have anything, as far as committee, we've not discussed at the committee level. Is there anything you can add at this point?
Yes, to your worship, we are aware that Discover Charlottetown and their architect that is working on the project with them has met several times with the fire department, and they are working on a revised plan. My understanding is that the final drawings are just being completed, and they should be back to the Public Works Committee in the immediate future to seek approval and endorsement on those again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laurel.
Any other questions? Okay. No resolutions.
No resolutions?
Okay.
Thank you, Laurel and Wayne.
Thank you, Laurel, and thank you, Wayne. So, Mr. Chair of Planet, we'll invite Mr. Forbes in.
Yes.
Alex? Do you want to give your report, sir?
Yeah, thank you very much, Your Worship. Planning and Heritage Committee did not meet in April. There were reports. The Planning Board met on Monday, the 2nd of May. Copies of the Planning Board reports are there for your perusal. The Heritage Board Committee did not meet in April, and the Design Review did not meet in April. The Affordable Housing Advisory Committee, Your Worship, met on Tuesday, April 19th. A copy of the Affordable Housing Committee minutes are included in your package. And I have 2 resolutions put forward, as you see, and there is a change in one. It's on your desk, one of those. And also, just want to mention that the Palmer's Lane deferred project from last month, the developer is asking for more time to finish going over the survey plans with the neighbor there. So they'll be looking for another month for that. And outside of that, I'll try and answer any questions. Thank you.
Any questions on the Chair's report? Mr. Chair, I did attend the Affordable Housing Advisory
Yes.
Committee meeting, and they did have the regional rec room from CMHC,
I didn't see that.
and it was a great presentation. Great
I
presentation.
think the one on May 17th is going to be good as well.
It'll be the Minister and the Deputy
Yeah.
Minister for Social Development and Housing.
Yeah, that's definitely one way. I have to get to that for sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Want to read the resolution, Mr. Kelly?
Your Worship, moved by Councilor McLeod, second by Councilor McCabe, that the request for site-specific exemptions involving the following variances to allow for the construction of a new 4-story single-detached dwelling located at proposed 18 Bishop Street, PID 359331 be denied to proceed to public consultation.
Do you want to read the specifics or just, that's all right, that's all right.
It's been denied, Your Worship.
Okay. Okay, the resolution's on the floor. Anyone wish to speak? Councillor Rivard, do you want to speak to it first? Yes, I'll let the chair speak first.
Sorry, thank you very much, Your Worship. I just wanted to explain the new resolution that compared to the one that's in your package, it just gives you a little more on the measurement side of things and how far some of the exemptions are required to make this a go. Just want to make sure everyone was clear of that first. Thank you.
Councillor Rivard, do you want to go first? And Councillor Yankoff, did you want to speak too?
Sure, thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Councillor McLeod, for the report.
Councillor Rivard,
Yes.
could you please allow him to read the dimensions so that it's on the public record?
So I would love to.
Thank you. Thank you for your cooperation, your collaboration.
Your Worship, that the request for a site-specific exemption involving the following variances to allow for the construction of a new 4-story single detached dwelling located at the proposed 18 Bishop Street, PID 359331, be denied to proceed to public consultation, asking for a lot area exemption, a deficit by 433 square meters, lot frontage exemption, a deficit by 11.14 meters, rear setback variance of 5.67 meters, east side yard setback variance of 6.87 meters, west side yard setback variance of 6.87 meters, Your Worship.
Councillor Rivard?
Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you.
Very well. So, I get that this is a fairly, I'll say, substantial project in the area when it comes to variances and, just a small spot that we're looking at building in. And I can appreciate, planning's stance on this, but when it comes to public meetings, and I'm not even arguing or even talking about the building itself and the merit that it may have or may not have in the neighborhood, but why not go to a public meeting? Why not hear from the residents of the area? I mean, I'm a big believer, even when I chaired planning for 7 years, I was the one who always advocated, we should at least hear from the public, hear what they have to say. The street is very narrow. It's an old part of Charlottetown. It's, the lots are, I measured off some of them myself, and they're 2.5 feet from each other, the houses. So, to say that something like this, wouldn't fit the neighborhood, I think would be wrong. I'm not saying that doesn't, fall in line with some of our bylaws, but why not go to a public meeting? What's the harm in hearing from the public and seeing what the local residents in the area, the neighbors, have to say? Maybe they're all okay with it. Maybe we're in a time of a housing crisis here, and infill development is not a bad thing if it makes sense. So I'm personally okay with it going to a public meeting.
Thank you very much for your question or your comments, Councillor Rivard. I will yield to the manager of planning, Alex Forbes.
Alex Forbes, Mr. Forbes.
So look, it's your prerogative to go to a public meeting, but what you need to know before you go to a public meeting is that this property, there's 2 properties, and one of them was there, one of them was in front of the council last year, and as a condition of that approval, the parking had to be on the lot that's in play this evening, that you're talking about a public meeting. So if you allow development on this parcel that we're discussing this evening, there's still another process. They're going to be deficient on parking on the main property. So when it came in last year, staff had indicated there was lack of clarity at the time whether it was 2 lots or 1. So staff anticipated it could be one or the other, but they indicated the parking, if it's going to be 2 lots, had to be provided on this lot. So just be mindful of that before you make a decision to go to a public hearing, because you can't, it's not only this property you're going to be dealing with, then you're going to have to deal with the other property in some capacity. So I just thought I'd point that out. Thank you.
Can I allow Councillor Yankoff to go first, then you're next?
Oh yeah, I was just going to rebuttal, but no, go ahead.
Thank you. And at the planning board meeting last week when we discussed this, I did not support staff's recommendation. I thought it would be good to reiterate what Councillor Rivard said, let the public have the right to, we always talk about public consultation and how it's so important to have public input before we make decisions. But the other thing that was brought up at planning board, that was a really good point, is that, and maybe it's, you know, something we look at going forward, the resolution probably should only read that we're asking if this project can be moved on to public works or onto public consultation, not that we're denying the actual specifics of it. The only thing we should be deciding on tonight is whether or not the public should be able to speak and have public input. So for that case, I will go against the staff's recommendation and stick with heading to public consultation.
Councillor McLeod and then Councillor Yank.
Sure.
Councillor.
Yeah, thank you very much, Councillor Yanka. So I'm just going to make a comment that that Alex, I think I need Alex to explain that before anything goes to a public meeting, it has to run through the normal procedures of staff's read on the policies and bylaws. So, and I think if I'm not, Alex can speak, but I think there's so many things wrong with this that was the reason why staff felt that they didn't recommend going to a public meeting. But I'll let you kind of put that in your own words.
Yeah, Your Worship, typically the way that things work is that the Councillor Yankup is correct, that the next decision is whether we want to go to a public meeting. We usually go to a public meeting. Staff usually don't recommend not to, but there's some peculiarities with this application you need to be aware of. So if we do go to a public meeting, staff will have to point out how you're going to deal with that other property. I'm not sure how you're going to deal with it, but I'll look into that. So that's that issue. Staff's recommendation comes after the public meeting. That's when staff comments, because you're going to the public to hear them. They may tell us something that we're unaware of. So if we've already made up our decision early on, that's not the time in the process. We hear from the public as well. Things like an easement or a water easement or a pipe through the back that nobody knows anything about, that's very valuable if you have your public consultation and you don't want to make your decisions from the staff point of view too early. So the process, I think, is working correctly. So we will give our opinion after the public hearing, whether we're for it or against it or whatever the issues are. Thank you, Your Worship.
Councillor Brevard.
Thank you,
Councillor
Richard.
Bernard,
So
and then Councillor Murray.
that's exactly what I was kind of referring to, is that there might be more information out there that maybe we're not aware of. So again, going to the public meeting, there's no harm in going to a public meeting. Listen, doesn't mean that we're approving anything. So we get further information to make the best possible decision. And again, why does it hurt?
Councillor Bernard, then Councillor Ramsey. Councillor.
Thank you.
Okay, did you raise your hand?
No, I'm okay.
Okay. Go ahead, sir.
And I go through the chair, I guess. I'm still not clear. As the manager said, very rarely do they come with a recommendation to not go to a public meeting. I'm still not clear on this second property.
Right. So
I'm trying to figure out how that impacts
Okay.
on this.
So we had a lot of discussion at planning.
Because obviously there must be something there, because
Right.
I haven't
So-
heard of denying
yeah,
going to
so-
a public meeting now.
So let's say that this is a tiny property in the downtown. This is a substandard property before it was divided. So it's already substandard. The two lots are substandard as a lot. So at the time that it came through last year, there was these two parcels and that we were trying to get clarity. It was a part of the condition. Please explain whether it's one lot or two. But when staff dealt with it, so the house, they applied for an in-law suite on one of these lots, and then the in-law suite triggered the need for a parking space, and there's no place on the property that has the existing building on it. So it had to be on the vacant lot.
For the parking for the in-law suite.
Right, on the separate parcel. And if you look in your package, there's clear direction in there. Staff are indicating that if this is two lots, the second lot is undevelopable. That's the one we're talking about tonight, because it's been reserved for parking for the other project.
Ah.
So again, all I'm indicating to you folks, it's your decision. Public hearings are a very important part of the process, but if we get to a public hearing and you want to approve it, I'm not certain how we deal with the public notice on the other property as to what we're going to need to do to bring that into conformity. So that's the trickiness on this application.
Follow up,
Just so I got
Councillor
that,
Bernard.
yeah. Just so I got that right. So the property where the in-law suite was approved And the other property was for parking, which is an agreement was made last year.
Right,
The
right.
other property was supposed to be for parking, went for a building on, so in essence, there'll be no parking.
There'll be no parking for the adjacent property, which was a condition, it's all in your package. The resolution was tied to the parking on that east lot or whatever, the west lot, I'm not sure of the specifics.
I thought that was another, okay.
Right. So that's the reason why, it's a procedural issue. We always usually go to a public meeting, but again, how we approve this thing in the long run, if we go to a public meeting, I'll try to figure that out for you folks. On the other lot, how do we deal with the other lot?
Councillor McKay, we'll go with Councillor Ramsey, and then you, and then Councillor McKay. Can you also clarify about the park, and that was to be...
I was just going to point out from the July 5th minutes.
When we come to you, can you bring that up?
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Chair and Alex. My question is, would the applicant have a chance in the future to go to a public meeting on this? So if this is shut down tonight, that means there'll be no public meeting at all?
That's right.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, that's all I want to clarify. Thank you.
Councillor McKay, you chaired the meeting.
Yeah, I did.
And could you please stand up and just give us...
Planning meeting yet,
It
because there was
was.
a lot of discussion on this topic for sure. And if we look at the minutes from July 5th, I think they are in your package, when he came in for that first initial lot consolidation.
Last year.
It very clearly states that the planning department, so even if it was going to be identified as two separate lots, that they would not be able to support any future development based on it. So it was very clearly stated when he got the variances for the first property, that this would be a property that planning would not be able to support for future development. So we can go to planning. I wouldn't have supported it if we weren't going to a public meeting anyway. The cost to go to a public meeting and knowing full well that it's going to be really challenging for planning to support this, but we're going to planning, or we're going to a public meeting for the next resolution. So if one more person wants to come up and speak, but I personally feel it's a waste of time.
If that was our meeting, yeah.
If that, based on what information we have.
Councillor Yvard, you're all right? Deputy? Anything? Okay.
Okay, questions called?
Questions called. Okay. All those in favor of the resolution to...
Just one, can I?
You go right ahead. That's why I kept asking to say our points of view.
Out of diplomacy and trying to keep things transparent, I mean, the option to defer this is there. If we feel comfortable enough that Alex, maybe not, Alex had a channel, but, you know, if it, you know, how strong do you feel that the applicant is fully aware of just what Julie had said? Like, how confident are you?
Your Worship, I think that's one thing that
It
the
was
applicant
asked.
and I are both
That was
in agreement
asked.
on, that a deferral, there's no, he doesn't see a utility for a deferral and we don't see, it's just a really tiny lot. And the key issue for us is on that parking issue, you can't waive required parking. So I don't know how you're gonna deal with the first lot. I mean, if it's easier of a variance, my job is to lay out the process, let you folks make a decision. So I don't know how you leave that other property deficient in required parking when you have a resolution that required it on the subject lot. That's the tricky part of this.
But Councillor Clark, it was asked, and he said,
Okay, I'm
Councillor
fine.
Bernard, then Councillor Yankoff, and Councillor Bernard. Go ahead, Councillor
Thank you,
Bernard.
Worship. I'm just saying, maybe there's a workable solution. I don't know what it is. I just read the package, I get it, it's a mountain to climb, but maybe there's a suitable solution. And again, maybe we get some information that we don't know about at the public meeting that can help us. If we don't get anything, then we're left with the information that planning put together, which is fine. Again, it's just, maybe there's a solution.
Councillor Yankoff,
Thank
you
you.
were at the meeting.
And just to reiterate, yeah, I was at the meeting, and just to reiterate what Councilor McKay said, it's, I just don't feel comfortable not allowing public consultation when we are always wanting to be open and transparent and bring this to the public. And I'm not supporting the actual development, I'm only supporting public consultation because I just think that the public has a right to ask questions. And so I just wanted to reiterate that. Thank you.
Councillor Bernard?
So I assume the in-law suite has been built.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So then it kind of sounds like what Louis said, this is redundant. We're going to have a meeting that there's no place. One project's already completed, supposed to use the second lot for parking. We're going to do a public meeting for really no reason. Because if we decide that we can build on it, there's no parking for the first project.
Yeah, that's my concern about trying to,
you know, again, public consultation, good, but the public consultation then would involve this other property, and we haven't notified people, because it's going to make that property deficient, and I don't even know what recommendation. You're not allowed to vary or waive of required parking, particularly when it's a resolution of council. So I don't know how you, even if you wanted to allow the development on there, I don't know how you unwind what has happened in the past. So
So
that's,
they're using that for parking now.
and it's required as a part of the original approval. That's my issue, but again, I'll defer to you
Okay.
folks. Thank you, Your Worship.
Councilor Bird, do you want a point of clarification?
Last thing, so it's.
Point of clarification?
Yes.
Could you stand up? Thanks, sir.
It's 2 PIN numbers, right?
Correct, yeah?
Yes.
In the event that the owner decides to sell that lot, then what?
Your Worship,
He asked the question.
that came up in the planning.
Yes, it
If
did.
If he sells the lot separately and he wants to sell the property that you folks gave a resolution on, it will show up in a future sale that he's deficient in parking. He sold his required parking, and then his original approval is not valid. He cannot, you know, this property is not in conformance with the approval granted last year. That's the problem.
But do you ask them to take down the house?
I don't know. We asked that, we had quite a debate on it, don't worry.
They have closed in RCC bar.
What's that?
They have shut down in RCC.
Not with the house itself.
Question called?
Yes, questions,
Your
comments?
worship,
Who's that?
Councilor Twill.
Councilor Twill?
okay, so what are we voting on here?
To deny it.
To deny it?
To proceed to a public consultation on 18 Bishop Street.
So that's what the motion is?
Yes, it's part of your package.
To go to a public meeting?
No, to deny it,
Oh, to deny going to a public
which means
meeting?
do not go.
I'm sorry, your worship.
No, that's all right.
Let's try it one more time. To deny going to a public meeting, correct?
Yay. You're right.
Is that what we were doing?
Yes.
Okay, so there's no deferral?
No, it's not in the
Okay.
resolution, it's just denied.
Okay.
You're all right with that? Okay, question's been called. I have to do a vote by, because we have two on on the phone. Rivard, Councilor Rivard, yea or nay?
Nay.
Nay to, okay. Councilor Yankoff,
Nay.
Councilor Twill,
Yay.
Councilor McLeod,
In favor of the resolution.
yay. Deputy Mayor Cody? Yay. Yay. Councilor Bernard?
Yes.
Yay. Councilor McCabe?
Yes.
Councilor Ramsey?
Yes.
And Councilor Duran?
Yes.
Denied. So it doesn't go to a public consultation.
Your Worship, moved by Councilor McLeod, second by Councilor McCabe, that the proposed zoning and development bylaw PH-ZD.2 pertaining to the following sections be approved to proceed to public consultation. 1, Section 35, water lot amendments. 2, Section 3.3, development and building permits. 3, Section 3.15, reconsideration of process. 4, Section 5.9, home occupations. 5, Section 8.1, zones table. 6 is Section 47.2, election signs. 7, Section 48.3, subdivision requirements. And 8, Appendix A, definition of terms. And 9, Appendix F, fee schedule, Your Worship.
That's on going to public
It's
consultation.
just to go to a public consultation, and I would strongly suggest that you look over the amendments.
In your,
Did you want to say something, Councilor? No,
just Your Worship, you brought up the issue for your colleagues about election signs because it didn't pertain
Yeah,
in the
I know what happened
definition we
last
had
election.
specifically to the municipal government. I have been in touch with Elections PEI, and you will see an amended definition when you go to the public hearing. So if you're reading your package prior to the public hearing, we will resolve that definition that's in your package this evening to reflect when the start date is for municipal elections.
So
that's-
signs can stay up for
just-
60 days?
No, well, it's up to you folks. It's up to you folks.
2 months? 3 months?
So sorry, Your Worship.
Go ahead there, sir.
So,
Councilor
Alex,
Ramsey.
there's gonna be a time frame of when you put your sign up.
Correct,
Yes.
right.
That is what you're saying for the election.
Right. The issue we were getting in, having a problem with, at the federal and provincial level, they have a writ. And when the writ drops, that's when the signs can go up.
Right.
That doesn't happen for you. You know the day of the election. So you have to back up your date from I've got it in there, four Tuesdays prior to the election, which is the 30 days. You can decide how many days, but you have to back up. You know the date of the election. You have to back up from that date as opposed to waiting for a writ to drop or the election start.
But a provincial election can go for 36 days, or federal election can go probably 6 weeks
But
plus.
the other part of that deals with them. It's when the writ drops,
I
they've
know.
got 30 days. Yeah. So again, I didn't want to debate that this evening, but if you read the package there, we can get it clarified. It's very important to get it done before your election, which is upcoming.
And that'll all be clarified that night.
Right.
Thank you.
Questions called? And this just go to public consultation. Okay.
Yes.
Please raise your hand in the chamber. In favor, Councillor McCabe, yea or nay? Councillor Twill,
In favor.
Councillor Drawn?
In favor.
Okay, sir, that's it.
Thank you very much, Your Worship.
Thank you, sir.
Before we move on, I need a point of clarification. Am I allowed?
Oh, go right ahead, please stand.
So, just to go back to what Mr. Forbes said, the previous resolution, all we voted on was a yes or no to go to public consultation. So does that mean that this applicant's application is going back to planning for staff's recommendation to then not to support the rest of it? Because it was crystal clear, he said, we're only voting on public consultation. So I just want a point of clarification, because you did say that.
Well, the typical process, the issue is you folks make the decision to go to a public hearing, but in this case, because of some issues there, which I can explain, it's up to you folks. The staff's position is very clear that we see a procedural problem on moving forward. So, the next step is always public consultation, but if you feel, which you did, that going to public consultation may be futile, that's a decision of yourself.
Secondary question, supplementary question, or
It
can you
says
just
right
please
in-
raise?
It just says right in the resolution that the only thing we've denied tonight is public consultation. So I just want clarity on the process.
And he is asked, he needs to get to a public hearing. You folks, the next step in the process is to whether you want to go to public hearing or not. If you don't go to public hearing, the application dies.
Yeah. Good. And as for just two resolutions on the floor, as of the end of April 2022, building construction dollar values, it's up to 63 million. So things are happening without amending or changing bylaws, correct?
We are.
Doing a good job, Alex.
Well, not me. Thank your development community.
Thank you, Mr. Forbes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. Enjoy the sun.
Have a good night.
Councilor Bernard, I think, are you next? What's next here? Parks and Recreation?
Long time no see.
Yeah, you're next. You're next.
Your Worship, members of council, Parks and Recreation Leisure Activities met on May the 2nd. Copy of the minutes in your package. If there are any questions, make a motion in a minute. Your Worship, there's 3 resolutions for council consideration. Again, I do want to say thank you for letting me put the 3rd one on, which is the eastern fence for George Smith at Quantas Ball Field. So, Your Worship, I'll do my best to answer any questions, and I'll make some comments on some of the resolutions I'm going for.
Questions, Councilor McLeod?
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Thank you, Councillor Bernard, for your report. It's really not as indirectly with your report this evening. I was just reviewing the resolution there for the parks updates and equipment. Back close to 2 years ago now, we had a public meeting concerning the Lions Club on Laurie Drive, and a lot of residents come out. Not so much talking about that as much as there's no access onto the park, the Lions Park, from the street, that we actually have to access the Lions Court roadway.
Just behind Fair Court.
So I just want to know, Frank would have some information on that if he was to go back, but maybe could it be brought up at the next Parks and Rec meeting, just to kind of address that, where it is, and because the residents were saying that, because of the expansion of the Lions Seniors Home, that road will be getting busier, and that having kids and stuff running in there to get to the park, that there's no actual access on Flory Drive to the park.
So if I understand it correctly, Councilor, you're looking for a pathway for people to walk
Yeah,
on?
like
Yeah,
just
from Laurie Drive to the park?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. No other questions? Want to read the resolution there?
Yes,
Mr.
sure.
Kim?
Moved by Councilor Bernard, second by Deputy Mayor Cody, that per the recently advertised request for proposal for park playground equipment, the City of Charlottetown accepts the following bids for playground equipment from Tessier in the amount of $20,690 plus local taxes for a medium-sized play structure for Bridle Path Park. Play Power in the amount of $40,492 plus local taxes for 2 medium-sized play structures at Oliver and East Royalty, Bonnie Blink Park. Play Power in the amount of $20,482 plus local taxes for the medium-sized play structure for Mulberry Park. Play Power in the amount of $2,646 plus local taxes for 1 8-foot 2-bay swing set with 2 tot seat and 2 belt seats for East Royalty and Bonnie Blink Park. Play Power in the amount of $2,646 plus local taxes for 1 6-foot 2-bay swing set with 2 tot seats and 2 belt seats for Westcombe Park. Play Power in the amount of $2,736.71 plus local taxes for 1 slide Westcombe Park, and Play Power in the amount of $17,261 plus local taxes for 1 independent rock for West Royalty Community Center Park, and that the estimate additional amount of $65,000 be approved for playground removal, installation, and contingency costs for these playground projects as noted above.
And if I meant to say, independent rock, you talking about rock climber there?
It's
I think that word's missing. It's the rock climber. It's an
Another,
independent rock.
that's going into Ward 7? West Royalty?
West Royalty Community Center. That's the rock climber, right?
Councilor McCain, there's a lot of stuff going in West
And I'm
Royalty.
not gonna, I'm just looking for clarification. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Can you please stand up so
I have a big mouth, I don't think.
the other listeners can hear you?
Stand up.
Frank, can you provide just some clarification so we're all understanding how you select certain areas for your placement of park equipment, please? And thank you. Gosh. Yeah.
Okay, Your Worship, yeah, so what we do is at the end of each season, our playground inspector goes around and actually looks at all the playgrounds, every single playground we have in the city. The playground equipment is inspected regularly throughout the year, so it's identified when a structure is getting near the end of its life. If it doesn't pass, the safety requirements, it would be replaced the next following year, and it would be right on the top of the list. And it could be a swing structure, it could be a medium structure. As well, the demographics change in wards as well. So we might start out with, say, playground equipment for the age, 1 to 5 or 1 to 6. Then as that area grows, then we're required to put in a medium structure to address the older children. So it happens to be, each year we don't look at the wards, because you can't look at the wards when you're dealing with safety concerns that you have to address immediately.
Is that good?
Yes.
Councilor Ramsey, question from?
Thank you, Councilor Bernard, for your report. And I sit on Parks and Recreation also, and I think I asked this question too. This is just the RFPs for the new stuff that we're looking for, because we're still working on 2021 equipment coming in now, I believe, because with the pandemic, everything is so far behind. I think, isn't it? That we're just getting gear that we had, or we're just receiving. Am I right, Frank? That we received when we go to 2020.
You asking me or?
Yeah, well, ask the chair.
Sorry.
Ask the chair, then the chair can.
Sorry,
answer.
So, as we talked about in our meeting, the order that we put in for 2021 has just arrived in December. So this summer, 2022, they'll spend time putting that equipment. In your minutes, you would have seen that this equipment is going to be late due to supply chain issues also. So this is something that will probably be arriving in the fall. So it'll probably be 2023 before it gets installed. So the head of all the work to install now from 2021.
Right.
So I think that's the point we wanted to make.
I just want to clarify that for the public too,
That's correct.
because you're passing this, and it might be a year, before we receive this stuff, but because we're still working on last year.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Councilor Rivera, you want to get an update on the rock?
Thank you, Your Worship.
Independent.
Won't be while I'm climbing, I'll tell you that. Scared of heights. Thank you, Councillor Bernard, for your information in the package. Is there, if I can ask you, how many parks do we have in, do we know how many parks we have in Charlottetown? I'd love to get an update on kind of where some of the parks are at and what some of the parks we're looking at. I know a park in our area that I guess doesn't get a lot of attention, Highland View Park. I would love to know an update on kind of, the equipment, the status of some of the equipment in each of the parks. That way, as a councillor of the board, it's available to us to be able to say, look at those phone calls. We had someone inspect all the equipment. It looks good for this year. We'll certainly put in for something for next year along these lines. But I just thought if we had an update on every park.
No, good idea. No, we can do that. The staff would certainly have what's in all the parks now, and as Frank said, they do inspections every year, so I'm sure there's a rating for all the equipment, when they're to be replaced and so on. So yeah,
It would be really
Should I
helpful
get
just
that?
in
No problem.
the event that we get questions, that we don't have to go back.
for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
For sure. Yeah.
Good. Question?
Questions, Colin?
Questions called. All those in favor, please put up your hand. Councillor Duran, yea or nay?
In favor.
Councillor Twill, yea or nay?
In favor.
Okay, do you want to read the second one, sir?
Your worship, moved by Councilor Bernard, seconded by Councilor Yankoff, that the city council receive the attached senior engagement consultation report dated March 2022, your worship.
Worship, I just have a comment on that. If I may.
Go right ahead.
In 2020, excuse me, in 2020 it was determined that the Seniors Engagement Committee would prioritize hearing from seniors in the city and surrounding areas to develop strategies to make Charlottetown an age-friendly city. COVID-19 obviously delayed that consultation, your worship, but in the fall of 2021, the Seniors Engagement Committee hired Volume 18,
Yeah.
a local strategic communications firm, which we're all familiar with, to assist with the citywide consultation process. The engagement strategy offered multiple ways for seniors to contribute, recognizing that not all seniors felt comfortable meeting in person. We still had COVID on the go, as we still do. So whether they're comfortable meeting in person or had access to the internet. So seniors were invited to 3 in-person engagement sessions. One was held at Malcolm Darrah Community Center in East Raleigh. One was held at the West Raleigh Community Center. And one, as you are well aware, your worship, with Jack Blanchard Hall. The engagement sessions were advertised in the Guardian, posters throughout the city, and on social media. The locations were chosen to provide opportunities for seniors in the areas of the city to participate without having to travel too far. Additionally, the sessions were held at 3 different times, worship, so to make it convenient, there were sessions in the evening, sessions in the afternoon, sessions in the morning to accommodate the senior schedules, including those who may still be in the workforce. 2 additional engagement sessions were held on-site at Whisperwood Villa and the Seniors Active Living Center. Also, we worship, an online survey was posted on the City of Charlottetown's website, promoted on social media, and additionally paper copies of the survey were available at City Hall and the Seniors Active Living Center. The responses represented 89 seniors who attended those in-person meetings, 221 online survey respondents, and 7 hard copy survey respondents. The committee's goal was to engage 200 seniors across the City of Charlottetown and surrounding areas, which they obviously had met that goal and exceeded it. So, Your Worship, I just want to say what a great job the committee has done, and I'm just going to recognize the committee members. Your Worship, the chair is Carolyn Villard, and then we have Gloria Lard, Hubert McIsaac, Darlene Hughes, Robert Foster, and Jacinta Cameron. So a great job in the report. If council hasn't had the opportunity to read that yet, I know we're accepting it tonight. One of the things we'll be making recommendations to the different committees, but the different committee chairs want to read it over with some recommendation that you may be able to take back to your own committees that we can look at budgeting to help make the city a more senior age-friendly city. So, thank you.
Any questions? Well, Councilor Bernard, I did attend the 3 meetings at Malcolm Darrah, West Royalty, and Jack Blanchard. Lots of great discussion. And I went to the Senior Engagement Committee meeting this past week, same time as the Police Committee meeting. and they're very enthusiastic, and they had great words of praise for Volume 18, the professionalism that they provided, and then the end result is this report, which is very much an action-oriented report. And they did look at one of the areas that we talked about, and that was about benches, access to benches and rest areas. So, Frank, you'll be hearing from them about benches being available for seniors. I didn't know they are higher for seniors and lower for small people like me.
That is right, it's a senior's bench,
Yeah.
and it's easier to get up off of, yeah.
Councillor Verge, you have a comment there?
I thought you were senior.
63?
Your worship, if I could just make a comment.
You
as
sure
well.
can there, Frank.
I would like to acknowledge Brianna McDonald, who's the staff liaison person
Great
with this
person.
group.
Yes.
And she has done an amazing job working with the
They love
actual
her.
seniors engagement group, working with Volume 18. And if anyone has any comments or questions, feel free to send them on to Brianna.
Yeah.
And she'll make sure they get it. And she might be able to answer it herself, but just to acknowledge her dedication to this, she took it on and
Very
really,
much.
really
Yes,
worked.
I should have mentioned.
Good point. Brianna has worked very closely with the group and Volume 18.
Yeah.
Okay, questions called?
Questions called. All those in favor, please raise your hand.
Clerk Jones?
Councillor Drawn, yea or nay?
In favor?
Councillor Twill, yea or nay?
In favor.
Okay. Next resolution, sir. that
Your worship, moved by Councilor Bernard, seconded by Deputy Mayor Cody, that the city of Charlottetown accepts the following bid of $36,306 plus local taxes for the Eastern Fence products for sports field upgrades at George Smith and Kiwanis ball fields as outlined in the attached background, Your worship.
So your worship, just for clarity, what this is about, and what we're glad to get on tonight, as I said, the tender is just closed not too long ago. This completes upgrades to George Smith Field and Kiwanis Field. The scope of the work includes installation of sideline fencing and gates and dugouts at the George Smith Field and the Kiwanis Field. So baseball's just around the corner, so we were hoping to get that done as soon as we can.
Looks like you're taking the lowest bid too. That's
We
good
are.
news.
Yeah.
Okay. Question called?
Questions called?
Questions called. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Councillor Drawn, yea or nay?
In favor?
Councillor Twill, yea or nay?
In favor?
Okay. Any word from Councillor Drawn? Any word from him? Jeez. I was just told that Councillor Duffy's sister passed.
Oh, too bad.
So,
That is too bad.
our condolences, sympathies to the Duffy family on this unfortunate moment, but she's at the QEH, so. Anyways, our deepest sympathies go to the family, and I know it must be tough for Michael and family. Okay. Water and wastewater, that's Councillor Duran. Councillor Duran?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Brown. The Water and Sewer Utility Committee met on April 14th, and the minutes from that meeting are in your package. I don't have any resolutions for your consideration, but I do have a couple of notes from a manager there. We have now 1,679 people signed up for e-billing, which is it's climbing every day. I would also like to add that, wish to advise you that the first round of COVID-19 wastewater surveillance samples were shipped to the National Laboratory in Winnipeg this afternoon. Wastewater treatment plant staff are pleased to be able to assist the Chief Public Health Office with their efforts to keep Islanders safe as we all work together through the pandemic. I don't have any other things to say today, but if anybody has any questions, I'll try to answer them as best I can. Thank you.
Any questions? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Councillor Duran.
Thank you.
Public Works.
Thank you very much.
Beautification Standing Committee, Councillor Terry Cloud.
Thank you. The Public Works and Beautification Committee met on April 27th. The draft minutes are in the regular monthly package there. The Civic Board of Persons with Disabilities have not met. But we are meeting this coming Thursday, so we're getting that back on track. Hope to have successful meetings there. And there are 4 resolutions anticipated to be put forward. Any questions, I'll try to answer. Thank you. And I believe Mr. Adams is on the line this evening. Thank you.
Adams on the line, good. Councillor McCabe and then Deputy Mayor Code.
Real quick on just wanting to maybe have some discussion at the next committee level. I've been getting a lot of phone calls from the Norwood Road Extension Road off the top of McRae, so that connects Norwood Road to McRae where the new development's happening. Usually they put shale down in that road, but there's been some problems with that because I think the road's in pretty bad shape. And I just want to remind the committee that last year there was a fire halfway up Norwood Road, and if that fire had happened in the wintertime, we only have one access point for the residents that are at the top of that road. And I know with development and stuff happening, I just want to put it on the burner that we might want to look at upgrading that road so that we can meet more safety and better flow of traffic for that area if we could do that.
Thank you very much, Councilor McCabe. I'll certainly put that on our agenda. And in the meantime, also talk to Scott and if there's any information you can share this, he'll forward it on to you, but we'll definitely put it on our agenda for next meeting.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McCabe. Deputy?
Thank you, Worship. Thank you, Councillor. I'm just wondering if you could maybe take it under advisement, the street resurfacing program. I know we rate the streets from worst to first. Can we get a copy of that report so when people are asking that you never got your street paved this year, you can say, well, you're on page 2 or page 3, so they have some idea of kind of where the ranking system is.
Yeah, we certainly will. I'll ask the manager to forward that to everybody. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Even if you sort of put it on a paper copy, like put it in everybody's mailbox,
Yeah.
so then you'd have it right there.
Yeah.
Just instead of searching through your phone.
So, Councillor Ramsey, what are you asking? Yeah.
I was asking,
You just want the hard copy or digital copy?
I would say a hard copy in our mailboxes, because then you're not at somebody's door and you're searching through your phones, you know, where's that email from Public Works and all that? If you had the sheet right with you, as the deputy mayor said, you know, then you're good, right? You just say, okay, you're year 2, you're 1.
We could probably do both.
Yeah.
We'll send it by email.
Sure.
Personally, myself, I have a printer at home, so I can print it off. But for those that don't have a hard copy for those, if you just want to let me know for sure who would like a hard copy, I'll be sure to get that done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councillor Bernard, get your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to make note that, you know, and I guess Scott's listening, I just assume that water and sewer, somebody's gone through that list to make sure that there's not going to be a water and sewer replacement, and then all of a sudden that street comes off and people get the list saying it's going to be done. And so just caution that somebody goes through that first to make sure that there's not a project on one of those.
And I'm pretty sure, I'm doing a lot of the answering now, but Scott is not feeling well, he's touching the flu. So I am doing my best to.
You're doing a good job, sir.
But I think that has been done, for sure, but I will, that could be part of the equation when the report that he gives out, that the reason this isn't where the rating is and why it isn't getting done is because of work that's being scheduled. Yep.
It's called working outside the silos.
Outside the silos.
Outside the storm sewer, or storm.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, do you want to go with the first resolution?
Yes, moved by Councilor McLeod, second by Councilor Ramsey.
Oh, yeah, just change that to Councillor Ramsey.
Should we change them all, Peter?
Yep.
Just make that change to the 4 resolutions, down with Councillor Duffy, just put that.
Well, just
Councillor
want to at
Ramsey.
least get those signed. You mind if I ask a question? Thank you. Thank you, Councilor McLeod, for your report. Kudos, by the way, for whoever put this report in.
We're getting there, right?
All the projects coming up, which is very, very helpful.
Yeah.
Question I have for you is the Beach Grove Road culvert replacement. I do see that it's starting in May of '22, and the completion expected in the fall of '22. I'm assuming that doesn't mean that the culvert is being ripped up in May. And if it is, I would really, really encourage city communication team to get word out to folks as soon as that bridge comes out, that there will be many detours in place, because it is a major project that's happening down there, and one that will result in a lot of confusion, if you will, or anyways.
Thank you very much, and Scott, if you are there, if you did want to, feel free to answer that one as far as what PR work we'll have going forward on that project.
Absolutely, Your Worship. Thank you for the question. So, yes, the work is set to begin in May, but work that's not at the culvert itself. So there's some water and sewer work as part of this contract that needs to be completed first, and that is outside. So they're outside of the footprint of the box culvert. So that work will take a few weeks to do. And then we are aiming for, I believe, end of June for closure of Beach Grove Road.
You'll have to close it.
And Scott, if you don't mind me asking, how long do you anticipate that the road is closed?
The last I recall from the figure, and I apologize, I don't have it right in front of me, so I will double check tomorrow, Councilor Bard.
Okay.
But I believe it's up to 8 weeks of the closure. We anticipate having it open sometime in August, weather depending. But again, I will confirm what they have put in their schedule, and I will provide I'll provide you an email tomorrow with that confirmation.
Yeah, that was great. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, it's an environmentally sensitive area, so they have to redirect the water. The
Yeah,
box
sure.
culvert won't be an issue because it's precast and it's tongue and groove, it's easy to put in, it's just all the
It's
front
not so
work
much
that has to be done.
and all the sensitivity around it's more around just the length of time that traffic will have to be detoured outside the point and Orchard Hill into the, I guess, Capitol Drive and down there, so it'll be quite busy.
Scott, just as a comparison, how long was it to install the pipe on Capitol Drive, the two 60-inch pipe?
Queen's Arms.
No, up in the hill.
Oh, up in the hill there.
Was that 6 weeks?
That was approximately 6 weeks, 8 weeks until we got everything cleaned up, but I think the road was closed for about 6 weeks.
Okay, do you want to start off then, sir?
Ridership, moved by Councilor McLeod.
Oh, yeah, did she not have a question?
No, she took down her hand, she said no.
Okay, good, sorry.
She said go. So go.
Moved by Councilor McLeod, second by Councilor Ramsey. And as per the conditions of the request for quotations for the 2022 municipal sweeper, the submission of Saunders Equipment Limited in the amount of $299,950 plus local taxes be accepted, and that this work be carried out under the 2022-2023 Public Works Capital Budget Program.
Questions called? Questions called. Okay, all those in favor, please put up your hand. Okay. Councilor Bard, Councilor Duran, yea or nay?
In favor?
Councilor Twill,
In favor.
did you want to make a
I
comment?
just want to make a comment there that during the Public Works meeting, I did make the comment, with the mechanical sweepers coming on board, that the outer skirts of wards get some serious attention. I know sometimes it's a little later getting it done, but this winter we've had a lot of dirt and debris, so I was asking that they try and get the sweepers out as far as they can and as quick as they can to the outer areas of the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Next one, sir.
Ridership, moved by Councilor McLeod, second by Councilor Ramsey, that as per the conditions of the request for quotations for the 2022 wheel loader complete with a versatile front plow, 10-foot bucket at 2.5 CYD, and construction forks, the submission of Tor Romano Limited, the amount of $317,000 plus all taxes be accepted, and that this work be carried out under the 2022-2023 Public Works Capital Budget Program.
Okay. Question? Questions called? Questions called? Please put your hand up if you're in favor. Councilor Duran, yea or nay?
In favor?
Councilor Twill, yea or nay?
In favor.
Your worship, moved by Councilor Ramsey, second by Councilor, moved by Councilor McLeod, second by Councilor Ramsey, that as per the conditions of the request for quotations on backhoe and truck hire for culvert services, below submission of Lee McDonald Construction in the amount of $82 per hour plus all applicable taxes be accepted, and that this work be carried out under the 2022-23 Public Works Capital Budget Program.
Questions called? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Okay. Councilor Twill, yea or nay?
In favor.
Councilor Duran, yea or nay?
In favor.
Okay, sir.
Your worship, moved by Councilor McLeod, seconded by Councilor Ramsey, that as per the Short Street Extension Project, the submission of Island Coastal Limited in the amount of $78,910.50 plus all public taxes be accepted, and that this work be carried out under the 2022-2023 Public Works Capital Budget Program.
Questions, call? Questions, call. All those in favor?
I have a question on that.
Short Street Extension. Okay, Councilor, you ready to answer? Or Scott's on the line too. Go ahead, sir.
My question is, will this be going to the neighborhood for public consultation?
Councilor.
I don't believe so, but I'll let Councillor McCabe, since she's the area ward,
She's the council for the area.
I know, Councilor Twill, Public Works is going to put letters out for sure to the surrounding neighbors in the area, and I've also been in touch with many of the residents that will be impacted to let them know why this street needs to be connected. Again, it's a safety concern for the residents in Woodley, and they have to have a second access point.
So will there be a public meeting on this issue?
No, it's an as of right construction, but they will be notified.
And you
I'm sorry, can you please repeat that?
Can you just?
It's not something that has to go to public consultation because it's going to be an as of right bill for the city, but residents will be notified.
And you'll be going around.
And I have been talking to residents to let them know that this is coming. They aren't surprised.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, this is a result of the 3 roundabouts that were constructed within a quarter of a mile, $20 million plus. And as a result, now there has to be an extension through Terra Heights to Angus Drive on Short Street. So that's going to be an extension. You know, we were sold on the fact that these roundabouts were a great thing, and now we're finding out later that there's deficiencies with them, and that it's created traffic where it's prevented traffic from turning into some of these subdivisions. How come we weren't told of this from the outset?
Scott or Mr.
Thank you, Councillor Twill. So after it was done, the fire department had recognized the fact that there was only one way in and one way out of Terra Heights. There is an access there. It's just a matter of the city needs to upgrade that to make it so that it's passable for everybody to use. You wouldn't want to be trying to get through there with a heavy piece of truck equipment. So there is an access there, and we just need to upgrade our end of it. So, and the province, we were able to piggyback on their prices.
That's a good price.
For all the work that they got done, we were able to get the prices from what they paid, and which saved us a substantial amount of money as well. Thank you.
Councilor Bernard?
Thank you. I just want to make it clear the roundabouts have nothing to do with it. This is a Woodley that goes up onto Terra. When they made the highway 4 lanes and put the divider down the middle roundabout would only make it worse. But this is only one entrance in and one entrance out of that whole subdivision up there off Woodley.
Yeah.
So this is a safety issue, as the council for the area had said. The area for the road was always there. It's always meant to put a road through at some point. Now it's become more of a safety issue because, as the chair of Public Works had mentioned, there was an emergency and the fire took quite a bit longer. We had to go all the way down to McWilliams to turn around and come back. So that's just one reason. But the roundabouts really had nothing to do with it. It was making the highway 4 lanes wide and putting a cement barrier down the middle. Thank you, Your Worship.
Okay.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to follow up.
Go ahead, sir.
Well, that's great, Councilman Mayor. You said the roundabouts have nothing to do with it. I'd like to get that in writing from the engineers, that the roundabouts have nothing to do with the extension from Terra Heights to Angus Drive, and that extension. And then reference to the fire department, I recall at the time, I did phone Fire Chief Randy McDonald when council decided to change the zoning on Angus Drive, and then at that particular time, the chief indicated to me that there was absolutely no discussions with the fire department. So why is there discussions now? It just seems to be after the fact, but nonetheless, I'd like to get all this information that was just stated here tonight, in writing from the engineers as to why this needs to be done, and that, as Councilor Bernard says in his words, the roundabouts had nothing to do with it.
Councilor McLeod, you want to follow up?
Thank you very much. I think, Councilor Field, so, at the end of the day, doing the roundabouts, fixing St. Peter's Road, the traffic congestion was the main reason for the upgrades, whether it was around the road or whether it was 4 lanes and the middle, at the end of the day, though, there was an access seam there. Is that the province's responsibility when it's in the city's jurisdiction? So they knew it was there, and but it really came to light when there was an incident, and that's when it was brought to light that, hey, we got to get that done sooner or later. And kudos to the council of the area for saying, just keeping the foot on the gas pedal and getting it done.
Yeah.
So and that's basically all there is to it, Councilor.
Yeah, we'll get some information from the engineer from the.
Yeah, I want it in writing, Mr. Mayor. And furthermore, is the province putting any money into this?
Well, it's 100 meters that they're doing. To get it for $78,000 or $79,000, it's a pretty good price. If we were doing it,
Is the province putting any money into this construction?
we're riding
This
on.
extension?
Yeah, we're riding on their tender, so you'll have to contact Steve Yo or I'd
I'll have
say
to, okay.
Darren Chase on.
I think at the end of the day, though, it's a city street, where St. Peter's Road is provincial jurisdiction.
Correct, it
I think
is.
that's what you meant.
Yeah, but what they're doing is this is an add-on to the work that they're doing in St. Peter's Road. Question?
Questions called?
Okay, all those in favor, please put up your hand. Okay, Councillor Duran, yea or nay?
In favor?
Councillor Twill, yea or nay?
Nay.
So no? That's it?
You did yours.
Your worship, I was saying some more water.
Julie?
A glass of wine.
You're going Greg's.
There you go, sir. Should have 4 there. That's it, sir? Did you want to
Just one more question from the council.
go right ahead? Councillor Yankoff.
Thank you. And I'm sure you're familiar with the street because it's in your ward. I've been noticing on Belmont Street, the throughway traffic, and I'm just wondering if we could take back to committee the possibility of a speed bump on Belmont. In the summer months, it's really, really fast.
Thank you very much. Belmont has been a notorious street for that, as is much of Ward 2 because it's the cut through. So there is work being done there this summer. Matter of fact, starting this month, there's sidewalks going in, which has been lacking too as well for such a busy street. And also, I can request that, but there is a procedure there to be done. I'll have to do a bit of work with the Public Works Department with whether or not a speed bump can work there. But maybe with the amount of construction that's going to happen, it's probably going to slow it down for this summer. And then also we are closing Park Street and Beach Street, which will slowly take away all that traffic. Belmont and Belmont, Hawthorne, Linden probably will become much quieter simply because of that. Because a lot of people coming across the bridge don't like the roundabout, so they'll come up Park Street, carry on Belmont, and same thing coming home again. And it's probably, I'm not sure what stop sign gets run the most, but I think it's right up there on Belmont. They like to go right through it. So it is, thank you very much for bringing that up, but it is on the agenda to get the sidewalk work done, and also that should hopefully slow down the traffic, and I will talk about the speed bump as well. Thank you.
And just to follow up.
Go ahead.
Do we have a date when Park and Beach are going to close?
I believe, Scott, are you there? I don't know, it's this year, right at the end of the summer. But Scott, if you're still there, you could answer that for.
Yes, Your Worship. So right now we are still in the finalizing the design and the tender documents, which we expect to have by the end of this month. So tender in June, and so likely will be an early fall start to this work, as we anticipated the timeline for this work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good. That's all right, Councillor Yankoff? Okay, Environment and Sustainability, Councillor Twill.
Thank you, Your Worship. The committee did not meet this month. However, we'll be meeting in about a week's time. I believe it's on the 18th. Nonetheless, there is some information that's in your report from the Food Council and from the residents of Brighton concerning a number of issues. Simmons Recreation Center, which was looking at walking trails and active transportation pathways. I think our manager did forward that on to Parks and Recreation as well, but the report from the Active Transportation Committee is in your package as well. And I do have just a couple of highlights prepared by our manager, Ramona Doyle. Thank you, Ramona. Monthly transit ridership for April 2022 was 58,331 compared to April 2021 when ridership was 35,983. So a substantial increase in transit ridership has officially recovered and now surpassed pre-COVID ridership. Monday to Friday, ridership is now 16% higher than 2019 levels, and Saturday is 42% higher than the 2019 levels, and Sundays are 55% higher than the 2019 levels. We would like to thank TC Transit for all their work in maintaining services during the pandemic and rebuilding riderships, and we would like to thank transit users for their continued support of the transit system. And you know, if we want to digress here for just a moment, all we have to do is look at the cost of gasoline and how much it costs to run our respective vehicles, whether it's a car or 4x4 or some of those trucks that you see driving around our city. The transit system, I think, is going to become that much more attractive and obviously that much more affordable. So thankfully we have a transit system in place and we have something to really build on. And just to continue on, I'd like to take this opportunity to sincerely recognize our very own Hamad Aman for recently being named to the National Energy Championship with Efficiency Canada. Hamad has been working with the city as our energy coordinator since 2019. He has been working diligently since that time to support the implementation of the city's communication energy plan through projects like the Energy Performance Contract, EV charging stations, our Switch program, which is very, very popular, and we are very proud to have him on our team. And I would personally like to take this opportunity to thank him for his dedication, his diligence, and his determination. We're very fortunate to have him on part of our team. So please, Mr. Mayor, everyone can give a nice round of applause to him for this tremendous achievement.
Good point. That it, sir?
Thank you.
Any questions? Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Thank you for your report, Councilor Twill. I just noticed in the active transportation minutes where number 6, reporting from the Department Liaison and Public Works, I see they're asking questions like concerning disability accessibility for city facilities. And Ramona is here as well, Councilor Twill. I just wanted just ask the question, like, should this not be under the Civic Board of Persons with Disabilities? Just a question. It's kind of crossing over into each other's advisory board, so I just thought, whether or not this should be being asked by that committee. I mean, it's great that it's being asked, and that Scott should eventually get the answer. But I just wondered if it shouldn't be falling under the other committee, not this one.
Well, I think I think you raise a good point, but nonetheless, I mean, cycling PEI and bike-friendly communities. I mean, they're working very, very hard. Our task force, I think, has done an admirable job over the last couple of years, and they're basically just highlighting some of the deficiencies and some of the safety concerns, and they're trying to bring them to our attention. So what they do is they, submit a report to the Environment Sustainability Committee, and then we forward it on to the appropriate committees. Mm-hmm. So I just think we're a point of entry, Councilor McLeod.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Councilor Twill. Just,
Go ahead, sir.
I guess it's more, not even at our level, Council Trio, more at the manager's level, that definitely Mr. Adams and Ramona Doyle both have that discussion as these things come forward. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, Councilor Twill, thank you for your report. Thank you, Ramon, for being on hand for questions and answers and comments. Strategic priorities, that is Councilor Ramsey.
Thank you, Your Worship, members of council. We met on Thursday, April 28th. Draft minutes are in your package. The Youth Engagement Advisory Committee met on April 14th. The draft minutes are also in your package. There is one resolution for your consideration, and if you have any questions, I'm willing to answer, or try to answer.
Okay, Mr. Kelly.
Your Worship, moved by Councillor Ramsey, second by Councillor Drawn, that the City of Charlottetown appoint elections PEI to oversee and run the City of Charlottetown municipal elections for November 7th, 2022, and that Tim Garrity be appointed as the Chief Electoral Officer and Stephanie Thorpe be appointed as the Deputy Electoral Officer for this upcoming election.
Okay. Question?
I do have a question about it.
You go right ahead, sir.
Thank you very much. It's a question on, with the elections PEI taking this on, does it, like, how close is the school board elections to the municipal election? Because they're tied into that as well. I just wondered that. Sometimes you wonder if the city elections get really the full attention that should get. There always seems to be some other area that's sharing the limelight with us when we have our elections. So I know the school board it's going to be a big topic and a big issue with elections PEI. So and it's in the fall too, but I'm not sure when. I just thought, does anyone have any? Or something maybe you could get back to.
Are they planning? Are they planning to have school board elections?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
That must be the first time in a few years.
But the dates are sort of not confirmed. Ours is right now. We'll try and find out more information for you, Councilor McLeod, and we'll go from there, because that's a good question. I mean, sometimes it's probably better where we are running, underneath the bus, instead of above it all that.
Thank you.
Okay. Question? Okay. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Councilor Twill, yea or nay?
In favor.
Councilor Drawn, yea or nay?
In favor.
Okay. Let's start. Go. Absent.
All right. Shows.
Okay. Councilor Ramsey, thank you kindly. Finance.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Worship. Our committee met May 4th. There's a report in your package. If there's any questions or comments, I will do my best to address them. And there's no resolution, Your Worship.
Any questions? Nancy McRae is here, Acting Manager of Finance and Properties. Start the audit yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the work on the audit,
Working on the audit.
working on the audit,
Full scale audit.
budget to audit.
Okay. We can move on?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Deputy. Thank you,
Thank you. Have a
Nancy.
good night.
And we're going to Human Resources. Councilor Yankoff. Alana Yankoff.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you.
The Human Resources Communications and Administration Committee last met on May the 3rd. The minutes of the meeting are in your package from April the 11th as well as May the 3rd. You recall our April 11th meeting was too close to a council meeting to have the minutes from last month. We have two resolutions for your consideration, and I just wanted to just quickly speak to both of them. Resolution number 2 is something I'm super excited about, something I've been trying to put forward since I was elected, so I'm really excited, and I hope that council took that as a very important consideration. The second one is the resolution on the telecommuting policy. And normally we would put in the previous telecommuting policy and show you the amendments, but there were so many amendments that it's practically a new policy. So after reflecting on this, I might suggest that we repeal the old telecommunication policy and just accept the new one. but I'll leave that for council's consideration, because there are no comparisons in here, and really that is our process to show you the comparisons of what we've changed in the new policy. So I can do my best to answer any questions, and thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bernard.
So I'm just wondering, so what are we doing? Are we sending this back to committee and do up once we know what the changes are?
What do you want to do?
What's that?
What do you, I was
I
giving
mean,
you.
I think what you said was this is a totally different document than what we had at first.
Right, so probably proper process and further reflection from a committee level, we should have repealed and brought a resolution forward. And I do think that we are permitted in the MGA to make an amendment to this resolution if everyone has had an opportunity, I would think, to have read the new policy. So our option would be, we could send it back to committee.
Or just put a friendly
Or
amendment.
put a friendly amendment in to repeal the old telecommuting policy and accept the new one, because there's just so many changes that it really practically isn't a policy.
So I just wonder, it begs the question, how come it had to change so much? Because we really don't know what was changing from the previous policy to this one now. So I just wonder, a couple of things I guess now, is just why did it have to change so much and what are the changes? So I just wonder, if we don't know what the changes are,
Yeah.
why they were done?
The last meeting, you weren't able to attend. We did talk about them there, but council didn't get a chance to
Right.
talk about them.
So it's not in there, so.
That's exactly right. So really then, I mean, in that case, it's really council's decision if we want to return it back to committee. And,
I mean, I would just be comfortable knowing what the changes are and what the reasons was. I mean, if they want to come with a new document, just highlight what the changes are.
the manager of human resources is not here tonight.
Oh.
So, and there's no person here from human resources.
Okay.
So, I don't.
If you want to refer it back. If you want to refer it back for more information.
If you wouldn't mind, I think it preferred is just,
So,
unless-
resolution is to refer it back to committee.
I think everybody needs to know what those changes are.
Yes.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Moved by Councillor Bernard and second by Councillor McLeod to refer it back to the Standing Committee of Human Resources and Communications.
And it's just a highlight of change.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's all.
Yes, and that's, when I went through the binder, I saw that, it's so important for us to follow process, and I was not comfortable that process was followed.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, resolution's on the floor. Did you want to call the question?
Good question.
To refer this back to the Standing Committee? All those in favor, please put up your hands. Councillor Twill, yea or nay?
In favor.
Councillor Cron, yea or nay?
In favor.
Okay, sir.
Your Worship, moved by Councillor Yankoff, second by Deputy Mayor Cody, that the City of Charlottetown include a land acknowledgement at the beginning of all council meetings effective May 9th, 2022. The next meeting.
Question called? Question?
Let's go.
Okay, all those in favor, please put up your hand. Councillor Cron, yea or nay?
In favor.
Councillor Twill, yea or nay?
In favor.
Okay, I'll just take that.
And that's May 16th, Your Worship.
So that's the start, when the mayor starts the council meeting, is it?
Pardon me?
That's when the mayor starts the council meeting.
Or public meetings, public consultations.
Any meetings, public meetings, any public meeting.
Yeah, so that was 902.
Can I get a point of clarity on that, Your Worship?
So, on that, I would start off the meeting by saying, before we start, I would like to acknowledge that the land on which we gather is unceded Mi'kmaq territory. We pay our respects to the indigenous Mi'kmaq people of this territory, past, present, and future. That's what it is.
And so is that just council or is that standing committee, advisory?
So we have a public meeting, a public consultation
Right.
on a rezoning. Start off with
So all
this.
public meetings? Sure.
But committee meetings, standing committee meetings, no,
And-
it's not for standing committee
Not for
meetings, it's for
advisory.
public meetings of
Okay,
council. Correct?
Thanks for
Yeah.
clarity. Yep.
I just wanted to Okay, just 1 second. There you go, sir. There you, sir. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Councillor Yankoff. And Protective and Emergency Services Chiefs here, they both, Chief of Police and the Acting Chief. Okay.
Right, thank you, Your Worship. I guess you didn't want to listen to me.
Again?
Must have offended.
Again?
Yes, Protective and Emergency Services Committee met April 26, 2022. Minutes are included in your package. There are 2 resolutions for your consideration. I know the chief and deputy chief have been around, I guess, for the last couple hours, so let's get these gentlemen home so they can enjoy some of the sun. But I would ask everyone if they get an opportunity to go back to the police package. And there's a nice email from Dr. Jonathan Duddick to Chief McConnell, just outlining some of the great work from the officers. So I won't read it, but I would encourage you to go back and just take a John that before you leave tonight. Very nice message and great work from our department, both police and fire. Any questions? I'll be happy to answer. Thank you.
Any questions?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, Councillor Twill?
Thank you for your report, Councillor Regard. Councillor Regard, and more specifically the Chief of Police, talked to many residents throughout the community, and there's a very alarming concern about the amount of drugs that are on our city streets, the sale of drugs and drug usage, but it just seems to be of unprecedented proportions, and residents are very frustrated with this amount of drug usage in our city, particularly, in the community, in around the Houston Street area, University Avenue, and, within 5-10 block radius. And what they're asking for is, maybe we need to set up a task force to really make drug enforcement a top priority. The amount of drugs that are on our city streets, the type of drugs that are on our city streets, and the impact and effect that it's having on some of our residents that are experiencing these difficulties. It just seems to be out of control, and residents are very, very concerned about the amount of drugs that are on our city streets. So I bring that forward as a positive recommendation. We need to set up a task force of police officials and elected officials to really get a sense and get a grasp on just how much drugs are on our city streets, and to see what we can do to alleviate and combat the amount of drugs. And I'm talking the sale of drugs, and of course, which follows from that is the amount of drug usage. It just seems to be way out of control.
Okay. You want to deal with the chief? Chief, do you have anything to add to that, sir?
Well, Your Worship, certainly drug enforcement is a priority for us, but also is a priority is all the upstream approaches to the why people are turning to drugs, social issues, mental health issues, and that is a priority for us also. We're doing a lot of great things on the proactive side, and but we also hear the concerns from citizens on the enforcement side too, and we certainly make a note of that. But I can assure you that our teams are working hard to all those ends.
Just to follow up, Your Worship.
Go ahead.
So again, I bring that forward as a recommendation, maybe to set up a task force that elected officials that would like to work on this particular issue. Obviously myself, because I'm hearing from the constituents every day of the week, and it's just residents are horrified as to what they're witnessing and what they're experiencing. It's very open, it's very transparent. So, Chief McConnell, I look forward to working with you and the department to see what we can do to, even further effectively address the amount of drugs that are being sold on our city streets. The second question I have is, I think it was back on February the 10th, that the provincial government did a revised police review concerning the province of Prince Edward Island. And I'm wondering as to what is the status report as to where we are, the capital city and the Shelton Police Department, and where we are with respect to that revised police review of the province. You know, what impact does it have on our department? You know, we still, you know, we look at the national standards or even regional standards. We still don't have enough police officers. I believe we're making some inroads, but we still have a way to go. And you know, what is the latest? If you can maybe share some information with members of City Council, Chief McConnell, on the updated police review, which I believe was released on February the 10th.
Councillor Twill, that's also on the princeedwardisland.ca website, that report, because it's a public document. But do you have anything to add, Chief?
Your Worship, I can tell you I've been in contact with the members within the Justice Department, and things are slowly moving forward on the recommendations from the police review. But as far as at what pace or what's going to be implemented, I'd have to refer to the Justice Department on that.
Councillor Bernard, do you have a question?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. More of a comment, I guess. I just want to, I think I brought this up before, but I just want to recognize, at least in our community, this community action committee that the chief had formed, the police and fire committee formed. I can't say how well it's working. It's a fantastic program. I think it's for residents of Ward 10. I'm sure that's other residents here too. It's certainly been a godsend. And I mean, it feels more like you have a community feeling. You have the police officers starting to know the people in the community, and they're starting to obviously interact with the community members. So a lot of information is being shared. So kudos to the committee and to you, Chief, for putting that program together. And it's still working really good. And I know I get a lot of feedback from community members who feel like the police are their friends, and the officers stop to talk to them. And so obviously there's good relations being made there, and like sometimes get some good information shared. So again, kudos to the committee and to yourself.
Thank you, Councillor Bernard. Please pass it on to the officers, Chief.
I will.
Thank you.
And Mr. Chair, there are now more police on the beat, correct? We're doing the street. Today, for example, I saw the chief walking in the downtown with his police uniform on, looked just great. But we're doing that for our police officers in neighborhoods in the downtown and throughout the city, correct?
Yes, Your Worship. So as members of our community wellness team, when the opportunity arises, they're out and walking in the community, including myself over the lunch hour today. You know, walking the beat in the downtown. People like to see the police, and that will happen hopefully throughout the city wards over the summer. And look forward to engaging with the citizens and you know, hearing their concerns for sure.
Yeah, that's a call I received today, Councillor Yankoff, from someone down in the downtown was concerned about more cops on the beat, and I phoned Deputy Chief Sean Coombs, and he said, "Yep, we'll extend our reach to where you're asking, but it's great to have police out on the beat." And as you said, engaging with the public. Councillor Bernard.
You reminded me of something, thank you. And I'm just wondering if there's any talk, there used to be one time where the police officers used to do the different subdivisions on bike. I'm just wondering, is that part of the discussion during the summer months? They'd be in certain areas of the city a couple days a week. I wonder if that's something that's being talked about.
Yeah, certainly the foot patrols and the bike patrols are something that the community likes, but also our officers like. And when resources are available, we'll be hoping to deliver upon that, because it's, like I say, the community likes seeing officers out in that capacity, and we enjoy doing it. So if that's possible, when staffing allows, we certainly like to do that.
So just to follow up, I tell you, one of the reasons I asked that is, one, it's great experience for a lot of people, again, to see the officers and so on. But the other is, it seems to be getting worse on a lot of our trails of dog athletes tackling another dog. And, you know, people think, no, my dog's friendly. while when it meets another one, sometimes not the credit. And I'm not sure, whether it would help have some officers on bike, on the trails and so on, but it's certainly rising. We're starting to hear a lot more of it now, of dogs attacking another dog, or dogs off leash. So I'm just wondering if that take back to your committee and possibly have a conversation on something that we can do to alleviate that, because it seems to be getting worse. I know with Parks and Recreation Leisure, we've been posting signs, dogs must be on leash. And most people abide by those rules, some don't. So it's a combination you have.
Thank you.
Councillor.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Bernard. Yes, we'll take that under advisement at the next committee meeting. If you can add it to the agenda sheet, we'll talk about it. Yeah, great, thank you.
Councillor Yankup and Councillor McLeod.
Just wondering, in the past, I know that the downtown Charlottetown had their navigator program, and I know that there's been some talk about needing a little bit more of a support from the city on that, not so much fiscal support, but police presence support. And I'm just wondering, has there been any more talk about the navigator program? And if that is going to have some sort of semblance of partnership with the city?
Well, was in attendance to a meeting a couple weeks ago where it did come up through another discussion topic. I can tell you that the police, through their community wellness team and their integrated offender management initiative, understand that there's a need for partnership with Downtown Inc. and other stakeholders. Certainly as our population rises and we see a bit of transient behavior in our population, that people like the peace of mind of seeing those types of initiatives. So we'll continue those discussions and hopefully we'll play an active part in making it a reality.
Thank you.
Councillor McLeod, question to Councillor Bird.
Thank you,
Chair.
Councillor Bird, for your report, and to the chiefs. Just a question. I have a civic board of persons with disabilities coming up, and I know the question's going to come up. So helmets, helmet signs in particular. Can you give me some guidance as to? I'm not sure if that's a public works issue or is it more? It seems, especially I think where they're looking for is, you reminded me, was Councilor Mayor, was the trails. At least if we had it there, where a lot of the access of bikers are, that we could have, a helmet sign that you should be wearing a helmet. That seems to be lacking in a lot of areas, and I just thought I'd bring it up under your committee, and maybe you guys could have a talk with Scott too as well about getting them up, because it is an issue, and it only takes a small distance to follow away to have a brain injury, and we'd like to see that as many people as possible wear helmets when they can.
And it's a provincial law.
And it is provincial law, but I know it's tough for our police department to stop every bike and get a helmet on. But one of the combatants, I think, is to say, let's get some signs up in the city of Charlotte saying helmets are law, is part of the law at least, right? And everything we can do to help that would be great.
I do believe the signs are through Public Works, the installation of signs.
Yeah, that's correct. Signage is through Public Works. Certainly the police have a role to play in raising awareness and enforcement, and made some notes here to work with our city partners to try to.
And Mr. Chair, I know that the Mayor's Task Force on Active Transportation has made a request to Environment Sustainability to work with Public Works, just to put a helmet, an image of a helmet.
Yeah.
Don't have to put words, just an image to say, please wear your helmet.
Yeah.
I know they do that in other jurisdictions.
Thank you.
Good point there, sir. Two resolutions.
Your Worship, moved by Councillor Bard, second by Councillor Ramsey, that the request to enter into a development encroachment agreement for the outdoor patio located at 2 perpendicular parking spaces in front of Sea Rocket at 110 Queen Street in Charlottetown, PID 339176, be approved to the end of the 2024 season, subject to an annual permit application, and that the mayor is hereby authorized to execute the standard contract agreements to implement this recommendation.
It's called for Sea Rocket. Okay. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Councillor Tweel?
In favor.
Councillor Braun?
In favor.
Thank you. Go ahead, sir. Next one.
Moved by Councillor Bard, second by Councillor Ramsey, that the Public Works Manager be authorized to cut grass, remove any garbage and other materials or debris cleanup and property disposal of the same at the owner's expense at the following properties located at 37 Chelsea Circle, PID 537985, 45 Scott Street, PID 462614, 225 North River Road, PID 366724, in accordance with the terms of the Dangerous Hazardous Unsightly Bylaw of the City of Charlottetown.
Questions called? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Councillor Twill, yea or nay?
In favor.
Councillor Cron, yea or nay?
In favor.
Is that it?
That's it, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
And thank you, Acting Chief. Jim, maybe? Okay, Council Advisory Committee, we have one resolution. Councillor Jacob?
Thank you, Your Worship. The Council Advisory Committee did not meet this month. However, we did have an email circulation for for some appointments for the Food Council. So we did the vote through email, and the recommendations came from Environment and Sustainability, from the manager, and she is here this evening if anyone has any questions about the 3 people that have been recommended for this committee. Any questions? I will do my best to answer. Thank you.
Councillor Ramsey?
Thank you, Councillor Yankoff. How many members sit on this board?
I believe it's 7, but I'm going to defer to Ramona on that.
Your Worship, so we have 7 to 10 spots that we.
Oh, there's 7 to 10 spots, okay.
Thank you. Paying the facilities?
No, I think with this one, it can bring us up to 9. So that just allows in cases where you can't have quorum, it's good to have a few more folks.
Okay.
And we did lose a number of people.
Yes, you did, yeah. And I noticed that they may be looking at bi-monthly meetings.
Bi-monthly meetings is what we're looking at, to have an official meeting sort of every 2 months. And then if they need any working meetings in between, that they can do that.
Your Worship, moved by, sorry.
Go ahead.
Councillor Yankoff and seconded by Councillor McLeod, that Samantha Duguay, Tricia Vienna, Jama Decal be appointed to the Charlottetown Food Council effective immediately.
Question? Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Councillor Duran, yea or nay?
In favor.
Councillor Twill?
In favor.
Okay. Thank you, Ramona. Thank you kindly.
Thanks, Ramona. This time you can go on.
No new business, so we do have to go into a closed session with a couple of items. If you look at your agenda, I need a motion to go into the closed session, and that is under section 119, subsection 1, what are the A and D, subsection 1, A and D of the Municipal Government Act of Prince Edward Island. Moved by Councillor McCabe, second by Councillor McLeod. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, Councillor Twill, yea or nay?
In favor.
Councillor Duran, yea or nay?
In favor.
Okay.
Are we going right into it, or?
No.